All right, good morning, guys. It's gonna be a good Friday today. Does the market rip or drip? Our title for the pre-market today is Rally Friday, but do I mean we actually rally or not? It all depends. Few things. If we don't have any news from Russia, Ukraine, no negative news, then based on the gammas, based on the data that we have, there's a good chance that there might be a put covering that may happen. Now, put covering can happen at any time of the day. Maybe it happens in the morning. They slowly take the market up, right? They cover, and then it's at some point it's the market stalls, and then maybe some news may hit, and then we right down, towards the levels. Or maybe in the first 2 3 hours we might go down all the way, and then some put covering may happen, which may give us a 1 2 hour rally point. It could be after 2 o'clock into the close, right? Which is the best usually, because if you cash that, options are cheap and those provide the highest return, right? So it depends when it comes. So there will be some sort of a rally today at some point, I believe, right? If there is no rally today and they continue selling things off, that's a major warning sign for the market. That I can tell you guys right now. If no rally happens today by any chance, we don't get the nice little green rips in between, this is a major red flag for the market. Just know this. That means they're selling more, they're buying more protection, and then the next week market is likely gonna maybe bear flag and then dip a lot more. All right. So let's see what the market does today. We'll do it live, and we'll have when the market goes, we will know better. But for SPX right now, the major number 2 3 days ago, 4,500 was the major number, but now 4,400 is major for SPX. Right. So it's 100 points down now. It's no longer 4,500. It's 4,400. So 4,400 is now strong resistance. All right. And above 4,400 we have 4,450, 4,500. And to get the details, just go into the pre-market prep channel, and you guys can see the numbers there. And then underneath we have some strong resistance near 43.75, and then 43.45, and then 4,300. All right. So these levels will act as support. Okay, and all the numbers that you guys need, the levels, they're posted in pre-market, and you guys can see. But 4,400 is major for SPX. Last night futures were going up. Now all of a sudden they're down. Now they're mix and match, just trying to hold. Basically a flat open, which is a gift. It's good, right? Gap downs on Fridays sometimes become hard to trade then. So now we see what happens in the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, how the market sets the tone, and then we'll see. And then throughout the day, of course, we expect some headlines from Ukraine and Russia, and they'll probably throw them out at key point levels, and from there we see what happens. So that cues also tech. The chart, it broke the bear flag, right? This is a bear. If you guys now, some of you guys ask, how do you spot a bear flag, right? Some of you guys get confused with these little dips. You just have to look at from the top point to the bottom point, right? You guys have we have a nice little point. I'll draw it here. We have this nice little zone right here, right? A nice little pole to a downside, and then we have this nice little flaggy pattern, and it broke below it. Now the question is, does this bear flag continue, right? What do I mean by continue? So if we look at some charts, let's look at PayPal, for example, right? Is this a good chart on the? Let's look at the on the weekly bigger time frame, right? So PayPal here, right? It also had a nice little bear flag here, right? It had a nice little bear flag. It broke under the bear flag, and then there was a nice little continuation. All right. I'm not saying this is going to happen with SPX. I mean, of course, it's possible if something happens, but if that bear flag on Qs, I'm just going on the daily chart, right? The weekly is already actually, if you now that we're here, the weekly actually already looks like it's working out so far, right? Do we hold now? This is so let's go to the weekly candle. I think is much better. This weekly candle, if we close like this to the red side to a downside, and then Qs hold under 350, then we're likely going to visit 310, 320 on Qs on tech. All right. And the most important days that you guys need to know now, is March 15th and 16th. And then March, last week, possibility of bottom for some months maybe. I'm not calling it a long-term bottom. I have no idea. This is just a small possibility just based on some things. March 15 and 16, when we have the FOMC. After that, the last week of March, we see how the market holds. That's when I'm going to start taking some swing positions into April, May, June for some rally in some stock across the board. Some of those names will be DKNG, Jumia, maybe T-Dog, Zoom, I don't know, I'm not sure about those names, PayPal, Square. That's when I will personally start adding some swing positions in those names. All right, so that's one thing. So March 15 and 16 noted. Until March 15, 16, there will be uncertainty. right? In January, we told you February 3rd week we'll have a better idea of the market. Well, here it is. We have a better idea. We are in a weekly bear flag breakout, and today if Qs might hit 350. So one play today that I'm gonna give you guys for scalpers, 350 if Qs touch, right? Likely it put scalp play. So you guys can have this on your radar. It can hit 49.80, 49.90, 350, 20, whatever it may be. This is a likely put scalp play if Qs touch 350. All right. And after this, if Qs hold 350 and we flag above it, then we start breaking the level higher. That means the market might want to go green and we might close higher. All right. Because this candle today, it can easily go green and avoid the bear flag. That can happen. The next week, let's see what happens. However, if we stay under 350, we continue staying low, then a bear flag is in the work, and then we will likely see lower in the coming weeks. Microsoft, again, bear flag is already breaking. The only thing holding here is the 50 MA on the weekly, and then on the daily, I believe it's the 200 MA, if I'm not wrong. If Microsoft breaks down, Google breaks down, Apple breaks down, if they stay red, the market is likely going to take a dump because they account for a huge chunk of S&P, all right? And the tech sectors, they're heavyweights, and if they come down, they're weak, then the market is likely going to dump. All right. If they hold, if they stay green, then market is likely going to hold certain levels. All right. So just keep these bigger pictures in your mind. And ROKU is down 30%, I believe now, or 26, if I'm not wrong. Right. It's broke a bear flag after a bear flag on the weekly. The next support now is it's actually at support 103. Technically, the next support based on the weekly is all the way here. The stock is down so much from the highs. It's all the way near 58, 60 bucks. Is this possible? I mean, given the current trend, anything is possible in this market, and yes, the same is possible here. And man, this chart reminds me of something. Should I compare this chart to something? See, as when I look at a chart, sometimes you just see it. So I'm gonna compare this chart to something that's possible. So Bitcoin, let's go on the weekly. Obviously, both different, have nothing to do with each other, but technicals sometimes they match up, right? So let's go on Bitcoin. Do you guys spot something similar here on Bitcoin? You guys do, right? You guys can see the similarities here. And then this is what happened with ROKU. Where does Bitcoin go from here, right? It's just a small possibility. And just like ROKU, this is funny. We have a 200 MA here, and Bitcoin's 200 moving day average is right here. So if Bitcoin dumps like this, then the market's probably going to dump too. All right, and it's funny that the MACD is also lined the same way. You guys see, spot this? So now, again, both different. This is just a technical comparison that I'm doing, and it's the same exact chart. So know these things, right? But ROKU heavily down pre-market. I would not touch it today. I would want to see if it holds because it can easily pin the $100 psychological level. In the morning, if it rips a little bit, it probably goes down after, who knows, but down a lot on earnings, so stay away. SHAQ, I have never traded this stock in my life, but ROKU and SHAQ has some comments that I want to go over. They have supply chain disruption comments, right? And plus they issued weaker forecasts for the coming quarters now, which is not good. So market obviously is not gonna like that, and that also got sold off, is down pre-market. And SHAQ is also at a very strong resistance, 64.60. If this fails, we're likely headed towards 40 and then 30, so on. All right. DKNG, DraftKings, I love this stock, but again, a huge head and shoulders on the weekly type of pattern, right? Absolutely broke down right here, and then from now it's a bear flag in the works on the. I'm going over the weekly charts, by the way, and it's down heavily pre-market, down 15%, I think. And if 18 fails, this is likely going to go visit $10 back to this level right here, right? We have seen what they did with Tilray, Space, and many other stocks in the market, Jumia. The same thing is possible with DKNG. Some lead, some follow slowly. All right. So just be careful what you're buying out there, because March FOMC is really important than we see. Mara also, I wanted to go over. Some of you guys bought puts, a huge selling pressure above $27, $28 level. Now, if 25 is not held, we're likely headed back towards 20 bucks on Mara. And then, of course, Bitcoin, if it's strong, Mara goes up. If Bitcoin's weak, Mara goes lower. All right. And but I'm just comparing the technicals, LB. Crypto, I mean, anything is possible. Crypto is volatile, right? If you're a long-term holder, if you believe in it, you just hold. Who cares about the short-term dips and rips, right? I also have some crypto which I'm holding, but that's for long-term. I don't care about the yearly basis or whatever happens. And T, anything else you want me to cover?
All right, good.
Okay. T watches news all day, guys. He just watches news all day, all day. So he has a lot in his head. So hence I asked. Space, another stock, Chamath, he stepped down from the board right at the lows. How sad. And his Space fails to hold this, right? Even the ticket things came, it surged, came down now, and now as Space breaks this, there's nothing underneath, guys. We're likely going to see $7, $6, $5 on Space if we cannot hold above $10. And is it possible? It's absolutely possible, right? Just comparing some charts. Same thing with Tilray. We had some on news. It tried holding, gave us a nice little bounce. Turkey absolutely nailed this. Congrats. But Turkey, if it does not hold above the $7 level, Tilray is likely headed back to the $5 or maybe even $4. It's a possibility, right? So we need some federal news from this sector. Let's see for the legalization and if it can get a bounce. And anything else you guys want me to cover? But otherwise, Premium is open for everyone if you're listening today. All channels are open. Come check us out. We will be trading live on voice chat. And just all I can say is just manage your position size. No need to go heavy. Today will be tricky. We can rip up huge, we can go down huge, or we can just stay sideways. I have no idea, right? If we get some major negative headlines on Ukraine, Russia, be quick to act on it. Don't act on it after 5-10 minutes when the dip has already happened, right? Or a rip has happened. And with that, guys, I'll end it. But it's going to be a good day. We'll see you guys back in the chat.